Hello, and today on Transforming Lives, I have my good friend Richard Foster. Richard is the founder of I'm going to say this wrong.
That's okay.
Holland Lan Healing. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
And you work online and in person. So, Richard, tell us more about what you do.
Okay. No worries. So my background wasn't in helping people or transforming lives at all. I was in IT. So I was an IT director. But it never really kind of hit the spot, so to speak. I was always kind of, good at what I did and things like that. But I realized after a while I wanted to really help people. And, you can do that so much with your staff, but you can't really do that in an IT world. So I took a big jump. I decided to study psychology and therapy. I qualified as a hypnotherapist first and started helping people with that, which was, is a very powerful tool. And I started getting into meditation and mindfulness, and it really helped me. It made such a big difference. And then my path kind of led into more healing modalities. So I'm a Reiki master teacher, so I teach healing, and I also do healing on clients. And I'm a shamanic practitioner as well. So I've kind of gone down more the kind of mystical route, I guess you could say. Although obviously I do work with people and use both kind of things as well. But really, it's like what I want to do for the people I help is to give them as many kind of as much help as possible, really. So I use a combination of different modalities. I also use kind of crystal healing, sound healing, scalar technologies, and these things are quite new to a lot of people. So sometimes it's just explaining what those things are, because some people can be a bit scared by it. But I use a bit of both things. So yeah, so I'm kind of a bit of a jack of all trades, as well as Carl on healing. I do an event called Grand Rising, which again is using sound healing, dance, ecstatic dance, it's just about movement, moving the body and how good that is too. And I also host the South Wales Wellness Show too. So
Yes, well, I actually went to your Grand Rising show event in August, and it was amazing. And you get some
thank
really good
you.
other facilitators with you as well, which I think is great. So, so no, that's really interesting. So, what do you think? Who is kind of like who would be your ideal client? Who is somebody who you feel you could actually really enable them to transform their lives?
I think it's to be honest, I think the best place really is feeling lost. So when someone's coming in and they're going, look, I just don't know what's wrong at the moment. I'm living a happy life, but they're ready for change. So I find a lot of the time some people aren't, and there's no point kind of dragging people along on a journey when they're not 100% in it. So as someone who's kind of serious about changing their lives and taking the necessary steps and actions. And I work with right range of people, all ages, all over the world. I don't know how, but I attract clients from like the US, in Europe, Australia. It's all over the world really. But I think sometimes just people resonate with you, and then through social media and people sharing links, they come to me through that way.
I know because you've actually had. I know you won't actually tell us where you won't mention it here, but I know you've actually had some quite high-profile clients that they've
Yeah.
actually found you in this way, which I think is amazing because we are drawn to each other, and I was drawn to you,
Mhm.
um, and we are drawn to each other energetically. And I do feel that you find when you're really looking for some massive change, and you kind of like that universe kind of moves in ways to actually make those connections, doesn't it? So,
Mhm.
um, so I think.
Yeah. One thing I find I'm really pleased. I come well from an IT background as well. It's quite a logical mind. And again, studying classical therapy and hypnotherapy really set me up for understanding spirituality.
Mhm.
So I know that sounds a bit strange, but it's almost like two sides of the same. I could tell you in spiritual terms, or I could tell you in more brain terms, or how things work. And what I find that the two things do match up.
They
When I
do, don't they? Yes,
They
I
do.
find that as well. And I think when you've got clients, I mean, I recently had a client who really did not like any of the spiritual stuff and didn't even like me using the term energy, for example. So it's good to be able to like flow between two kind of areas. And so, like you say, you know the fundamentals, the sciencey type of way of actually explaining and managing a client, as well as the more kind of like ethereal, spiritual way as well. So it's great
Mhm.
that you can blend those two.
Yeah, exactly. One other thing, I just explain a little bit about healing as well, if people that don't know much about it, because there's a lot of things where it's all a bit woo-woo and what's going on. But the way I kind of explain to new clients is that our body stores emotion. When we don't process emotion, it stores the emotion in our muscles. This is another reason that yoga is quite good. And there's a number of techniques about releasing that energy within your body. You've got like reflexology, massage, acupuncture, and they're all similar things. So it's allowing that energy to be released from the muscle. And what
Yeah,
healing
and
is,
to
it's
flow, isn't it? Yeah.
exactly, and it's using energy from my hands because we are electromagnetic beings. We are electrical. We've got kind of energy coming out our hands, and when that goes over an area where there's stored trauma or stored emotion, it releases. So the first thing
Yeah.
I do, I tell people, especially when I get guys coming in, because I know guys don't like crying. I say, look, I warn you, this might start you crying, and they go, I don't cry. And then 5 minutes in, they're crying like a baby. Just so, which is good. Crying is an amazing release. It really is. I'm a big kind of advocate of crying and feeling our emotions because it does. We don't, especially men, we push emotions down. We want to look kind of tough and hard, and it just ends up getting stored, and it builds up and builds up over time. So, that's the big thing when people come in for healing for the first time is there'll be a big release of energy, and then
Yeah.
after they feel lighter. So.
Yeah. And I think they did that study, didn't they, where they measured tears of crying, of sorrow, and tears of happiness as well. And chemically, they're different. So that
Mm.
goes to prove that the chemicals and the toxins or the stored trauma is actually being released in through the tears. So I think there's a lot of like I say, I do definitely agree with that. So so the healing that you do, you actually obviously do that in your practice, but
Mhm.
can you do the healing online as well?
You can, yeah, it's done remotely. So quantum entanglement, there's no real space and time. So I could do healing online, thankfully, which opens my customer base to the world. And it's just as effective. It's nice. The personal touch is great. If you can come in, and work, 'cause it's nice to kind of seeing the whites of their eyes kind of thing. But yeah, it can be done remotely as well, which blows people away. But yeah, it definitely works too.
WhatsApp audio.
Turn that off.
Yes, so yeah, it can be done anywhere. And the other thing as well is that as well as just doing the healing, some people just kind of do the healing, but I really want to work on, as you say, transforming lives. So it's really talking. I talk a lot during my healing sessions, just about the nature of how things are and how we are and how we interact as people. So that when they go away, they're not only having the healing, but they're then able to look at their lives, understand what's going on. And it's almost like I found myself, it's like, I've got no instruction manual how to be a human. We just go around, we just try and work out what best way it is, depending on the people in our environment. That could be completely wrong from what we've learned. So it's really the building blocks, and I think with everything, I had to do a lot of work on myself. And then when you get through that process, then then how to help other people. And I think that really brings authenticity out. That brings, and I'm very open about my own healing journey too, which I share with clients, because you can feel then that you're not alone.
Yeah, and I think that's a really important thing that I've learned with
Lachlan's phone. WhatsApp video.
I can't turn this off.
That's always the way.
I have to edit this out.
That's okay.
That's what I found with the most authentic and the best healers are the people who've actually had I would say in some instances quite a lot of trauma in their life that they've managed to get through. And somehow once you've actually managed to get through that yourself and heal that yourself, it does open you up to wanting to become a healer, because it kind of like somehow it fundamentally changes who you are and your connection and your energetic frequency, I think. So yeah,
It
I
does.
really feel that that was part of my story actually. I went through the whole kind of like various different therapies, and then I found RTT, which is rapid transformational therapy, and it really shifted me in a massive way to kind of like to stop all those negative thoughts and feelings which I wasn't even really aware of, but they were there. and they were running the show. And the scary thing is, I had no idea they were running the show, but they were. And all the time I was looking out and blaming other people and blaming this situation and blaming that. It was the only way I knew how to process something, until you actually go through, like I say, that healing process where you recognize it's all about you. It's all about how you are showing up and how you're acting and what you're creating in life. And when we can change the thoughts and the beliefs in our mind, then we can actually put a different program in, because quite often the program that was put there when we were 4 or 5 years old and hasn't been updated to actually reflect that we're adults now and that we don't need that program. So yeah, I think that the healing process and the healing path is something that, you know, yourself and myself, and I think a lot of other people now, because of the stresses in life, and, you know, so many people are suffering from mental health issues. That's greatly on the rise. And I think that pressures of life are actually, we've probably all got our stuff going on, but the pressures in life, which are getting, you know, the world's going pretty crazy out there at the minute, we've got to admit that. And I think it's taking people from kind of this mid-level of just coping, taking them up to that kind of like bubbling over point where, you know, things are just not, they're just not coping anymore. So they're looking for alternative ways and looking for ways which aren't, you know, going to the doctors and getting, you know, pills and something just to kind of like just get rid of it. So, you know, it's really great that there's so many people out there now like yourself who are, you know, offering these different types of healing sort of like modalities and things. So I'm going to pop in the notes anyway where we can find you, but you want to just say that now anyway?
Yeah. So my website's www.carlonlanhealing.co.uk. I've also got presence on Facebook and Instagram too. So if anyone's got any questions with that. You were talking as well about the, you know, about society now, things are so stressful. And I do feel like everyone's heard this before, but technology is a big problem. Our phones are always there. We're on them all the time. The alert level's high. Yeah, well, yes, exactly. We can't be it's hard to be disconnected from it all the time. And one part of the thing with shamanism isn't getting out in nature. You know, like nature's a great teacher. It's spending time just taking all the devices out and just stepping out the house, and just because we are nature, we're not separate from it. We are the same as a tree or anything like that. And nature's healing. So, you know, making sure we ground often, we just have a bit of a quiet, just spending time. So I say this to a lot of people, but, you know, people talk about forests. Well, it's for rest. You know, that's what it is, isn't it? Because you go for rest.
Oh, I've never noticed. So many other ones that I know about. No.
It is, and they've proven, there's studies that show that trees give off electromagnetic field like a healer does too. And even just sitting, you know, I'm a big tree hugger. I'm not scared to say it, right? I love a tree hug, because as you do that, it's discharging the energy in your body. And when we've got rubber sole shoes on, that energy stores up. And I'm sure you've had it before, when you go jump in a bed and you're fidgety and you're twitching, you've got energy, you know, you can feel the energy in your body. It needs to be discharged into the ground to help us relax. And it's also great for inflammation, you know. So if I've got a client with arthritis or anything like that, grounding is amazing. Within 10 minutes of grounding, the inflammation goes down because it's an electrical charge in the body. Yeah.
I did not know that. I didn't know that. Right. Okay. I'll have to remember that. I must admit, I find grounding quite a difficult thing to do in the winter.
Yes, it's not pleasant.
Wet, cold feet. I'm just sorry. It's just a bit too much for me. But what I do, I do place my hands on a tree, and when I'm out walking the dog, and I find that that's my grounding, because it's quite an easy thing to do. And I've actually even lost all the embarrassment around it. I used to kind of like just be watching all the people coming.
Yeah, I was the same.
That's strange from touching trees again. My dog's pretty good though, because she'll kind of like get excitable. So I've kind of like just got an ear out listening to what she's doing. But I find that it's actually a great way. And then when I open my eyes, it's kind of like I'm looking through new eyes as well at that point, because it's like everything just gets taken down a level. And you just kind of relax a bit more. So yes, I find that an amazing thing. I'm glad you're a tree hugger too.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and the other thing is really important is like I want to give people like a toolbox or a map or a guide on how to navigate things. And there's so much we can. So one of the things I always say, I repeat again and again and again, is in magical terms, they say as above, so below. And it comes from a Hermetic principle. But it's so true, because everything that's going on inside of us is represented outside of us. And we notice things. So when you know that, you can turn. So when people are on their kind of healing journey, I say you want to turn into like a private investigator, like Columbo, right? But you're the one you're investigating. So you can just you can just take a step back, watch the patterns, watch what you're doing, watch what you're saying, watch what triggers you, what bothers you, what makes you upset. And that will tell you everything you need to know about yourself. Because the thing I learned more than often is the thing we lie to ourselves all the time. We don't tell ourselves the truth. We tell ourselves stories, but we not often, are we? So having these things that happen is confirmation of those things. And also you can use that as progress. So, I'm sure you've talked about it before, journaling is really good. And you'll notice the triggers become less and less as you start to observe things, but not doing it from a place of judgment, but a place of interest, and go, wow, this is how interesting. Like I completely went mad in a traffic jam, or when someone pushed in front of me or something like that. And you apologize, but then you can use that as a great thing. So it's a really good indicator, like a litmus test on how you were doing. And it's okay. We all have triggers. We all have these things, but they are all, even every negative emotion's a gift. It really is, because they're showing you something about yourself, which you might not want to admit about yourself.
Yeah, and I think so. I think that's great. I think also every negative event is a gift.
Yes.
So I think that when we're given these things, it's a really good opportunity to stand back. And, I must admit, especially in the last couple of months, there's been certain things that have happened where I've had to literally stand out of myself and go, what's going on? And actually deal with it like dispassionately, because there's no point in getting over emotional. I've learned that there's no point in getting over emotional about things that happen, because it doesn't change anything. So I think that, we need to I find it's much easier for me to actually, learn from the situation, see what is actually there to teach me, rather than just getting mad at the other person or mad at what's going on, because that doesn't help. It doesn't solve anything.
No, absolutely not. And, so in the spiritual community, people talk about shadow work, and it's the thing that people don't want to do the most. A lot of people want
the hard one, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. They want the sound baths and the and all the high
nice
vibe stuff. And I love that too. I love that too. But the real good work, the really real gold dust, is shadow work, which is looking. So when we don't acknowledge something within ourselves, it becomes a shadow. It becomes unconscious behavior. And we're not even aware of it. So you could just be going along, and then you go, no, I'm not like that. And it's only if you're honest with yourself and you look through these things and you go, yeah, you are actually. And usually the things that annoy you the most are the things that you do.
And the people that irritate you the most are the people that are most like you as well.
Yes, exactly
right.
Yeah. And that triggers people even saying that, to be honest.
Yeah. I know. I think that's the thing. You have to come to that level of, acceptance, be able to listen to that and hear it, because like you say, we're all learning, we're all evolving, we're all kind of on that journey where we're still processing stuff. And yeah, we all skip up. But I think, for me as well, it's actually acknowledging, I'm human. For so long, I would make excuses as to why I behaved that way, or because I could never actually, the whole idea of me being in the wrong was so scary, and so I felt so bad about it. I'd excuse everything.
Yeah.
And it's actually a case of going, do you know what? Everyone messes up. Everyone gets stuff on. It's okay, because that's what everyone does.
Indeed.
And just recognizing is, okay, well, we can apologize, we can make that better, we can genuinely apologize, and we can make it better, and then we can move forward and we can learn. And I think that that was a massive thing for me, actually recognizing that I'm not perfect.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We are perfectly imperfect. Like, what makes us all special is our imperfections. Otherwise, we'd be boring. It'd be so boring. Failure is such a problem, even in IT. Like, I used to do coaching sessions when I was working in IT about celebrating failure, and people go, oh, you can't say that. But if you look at it right and say, okay, well, we made a mistake, and let's look at why and look into it. They're lessons. You learn the most through making mistakes.
Failure, yes, but you don't learn anything when it goes right, do you?
No, you just think, oh wow, cool, I'm great at this.
Yeah, and become overconfident and make a big mistake.
Yeah, exactly. So and I like you said, really good point is we're human. And we've got to acknowledge that. I think being lighthearted about things, not taking things too seriously is really important. And you know, being human means we get angry and we get horny and we get all these things, but we don't want to feel those emotions. We disconnect ourselves from those things. And as you know, it causes huge problems then, you know, in our life. So just
I think we
ease
want
up
to
on
feel
yourself.
horny, don't we? I don't think that's
Well, maybe
not
not all
a
the
bad
time.
emotion. Sure, it depends on the situation, maybe. But
But I mean, there was a lot of shame around it, you know, so it's okay that we're all, so, you know, being okay with all the range of emotions we need to feel, you know, and feelings,
yeah,
you gotta feel them all. And it's okay. Anger is your best friend in a way, because it's the one that defends you the most. It's when your boundaries have been broken. But we don't want to feel this anger, and we repress it down, we push it down, and it comes like a boiler cooker. And then it just
yeah.
explodes out, and we wonder why we've completely lost our head over something. And that could be a years of built up of emotions that we haven't dealt with. So
Yeah, and I think that's definitely kind of a society thing, isn't it? Where you know, it's not a good thing to kind of like show your emotions, or to, especially negative emotions. We shouldn't have them. We shouldn't have those bad feelings. And really, what they do need to be acknowledged and looked at. Rather,
yeah. Okay.
I actually probably should answer it. It's my son.
I
I know what it is, though. I know what he's phoning me for, and it's nothing important.
That's always the way. Yeah, exactly. So I know, and it's okay. It's you know, I tend to make a bit of a joke and share some of my mistakes, because I think that's really important too, is when you can just feel at ease with, and there's no judgment, because we've all made mistakes. And I think if everyone was absolutely honest, we've all made bloody massive mistakes in the past before, but we're always doing it because that's the best we're doing. Because at the time we think, because no one ever goes into things thinking they're wrong, or very rarely people do things to hurt others. They just come in from a certain perspective, and it's understanding that everyone's got a different perspective. And you know,
Yeah, and I think that's a really important thing as well. Is like, you know, I think there's probably a very, very small part of the population that would actually go out deliberately hurting people. It generally is coming from a place where they are hurting, they are, you know, upset or traumatized or confused, or just not in the right mind for whatever reason, that they are acting out. And I think that's yeah, that's what I've definitely found. I do believe in my heart that, you know, 99% of the people are good people. And it's just that they've had some, you know, bad experiences, and, you know, that's actually put them on a slightly different path to me. So
exactly. And we all project our own internal reality outside. We label people, you know, we make quick judgments on people, especially when we're in fear, because fear as an emotion doesn't, you know, turns off the kind of the more complex parts of our mind. And it's easy to do. So yeah, it's just having that, it's understanding. So with all these things, it's just going, oh well, you create your own reality, everything that's happening is showing you something, and that tends to, people can go away then and just, you know, just live their life and make a note when things come up.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, isn't it? When things are starting to come up, that's when people do seek you out. So and we're here for them.
Yes, exactly. Absolutely. Yeah.
Richard, it's been so lovely chatting to you today. And
You too. Thank you.
I'm going to let you go now. So thank you very much. I'll put all the notes down into the chat below. And yeah, let's catch up again soon.
Cool, lovely. Okay, thanks,
Okay.
guys.
All right then.
Cheers. Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.